Hey, Beep Baseball world. Welcome back to another edition of the Beepball Blues Show with NealDawg and Bam Bam. So far, it's been a full day of Beep Baseball with the MBBA spring board meeting going on. I'm sure that you tuned in to all the meetings today, knowing you.
Oh yes, I did. I did, man. I didn't have anything else to do. I said, "Hey, let's tune into the MBBA board meeting." Those are
That was
always so fun.
sarcasm, but in truth, you told me the only thing you had to do today is Landry's soccer game. That got canceled, so you didn't have anything else to do. Where were you?
No,
Why weren't you there?
I only got 150 essays to grade, so
And
so
how many did you grade?
man, I graded. God, I don't even know how many, man.
All right.
They become mind numbing, and I took Delaney to his first training. First official workout training this morning. That's how our morning started. So
My
yes,
morning.
I am technically on vacation. My spring break has started, but there will be no spring break for me.
Your
Got
own
nothing
fault
but
for
work.
falling behind. You got nobody else to blame.
It's like crazy, man.
My
Not my fault, man. It's not my fault.
my morning started with me attending my first MBBA board meeting in my jammies.
That's the way to go.
Hey, it was
it,
comfortable. I should have done that when I was on the board because a lot of times I'd stay up with everybody, hanging out, having a few cocktails, and get up at the last minute before the board meeting. It was always tough. I should have just got up and gone to those meetings in my jammies. I was comfy.
so was there anything like I missed? Was there any breaking news or anything like really important that I missed out of the board meeting this week?
I mean, I can't think of anything from the board meeting that, like the meeting itself, that stands out that needs to be talked about. The World Series of Beep Baseball this year is in Norman, Oklahoma, which by default means that the spring board meeting is in Norman, Oklahoma. That's probably appropriate though at this point in time. No, my board people. Uh, but what was cool for me is something they haven't done in a really long time that they did way back. Like my first term on the board was,
Way
I know,
back.
way back 1989. And something that they did that I always thought was cool at the spring board meeting, and we did it sometimes because back then we had to travel to the fall board meeting also, is if there was a local team there, put a team together with the board and have the board play against the local team. And they did that. It's first time in, I don't even have 25, 30 years since I've heard of them doing that. I'm not saying it's never been done lately, but I haven't heard of it being done. So I thought that was cool. So the Lookouts, the Oklahoma Lookouts that were on the show not too long ago, played the board. They only played 2.5 innings. Didn't go that great. Started out, it wasn't too bad. The board jumped out in front 6-0. Then the Lookouts fought back. It was 6-5 going into the top of the third, and the board just laid a whooping on them from that point. And they didn't let the Lookouts have their up at bat. They're only going to play, I think, 3 innings to begin with. And they didn't even let the Lookouts have their at bats in the third inning. Even though the board outscored the Lookouts, I'm saying, I'm declaring Oklahoma the winners of the game.
Oh, okay. So we're giving participation trophies now in the MBBA.
No, because I'm disqualifying the board's effort. They played with Jeremy Lopez as their pitcher, the pitcher of the Jets. He's not on the board. Jerry Wendell, John Lykowski, two experienced pitchers on the board. They get benched for Jeremy Lopez, a ringer that the board brought in. I don't think it's fair. So I'm declaring the Lookouts winners. Yeah, that's
Yes,
just
yes,
me though.
yes.
On a serious note,
Neil, stop.
wow.
Isn't everybody a winner?
On a serious note, I keep getting more and more
Oh,
impressed with Jeremy Lopez. I mean, this only his second year pitching. He pitched at the All Star Weekend, pitching to a lot of bats he doesn't normally see, and he comes right in hitting their bats. And then today he's pitching to the board, which Axel Cox and D. Smith were there, but for the most part, players that aren't on his team. And again, he's just coming through and whatever, 3 innings, they put up 18 runs, I think, scored 13 straight in the top of the third. So I'm impressed with Jeremy Lopez. He's an impressive young pitcher.
Were you impressed with the lookouts though?
I mean, they obviously, and we know this with Tim Hibner as their pitcher, they're going to be able to score runs. There were a lot of ground balls that it didn't seem like anybody was getting anywhere near. So if they're going to want to compete at the World Series, you've got to pick up the easy stuff. I know they got a lot of new players, but they also have some experienced players. And I know it's March, whatever, but some ball gets hit on the ground. You got to have players putting bodies on those balls, or it's going to be a long tournament. So those are my thoughts. You still there? It's gone very quiet.
No. I mean,
All right.
no,
Over the last few shows, my connection at times has been leaving. So when it got totally quiet, it's like, oh man, they lost me again.
There was kids running down the hallway, so we were like, we didn't want to interrupt.
You didn't want to interrupt the kids, or you didn't want to interrupt Neil?
Interrupt the show.
No, oh, we lost them a little bit.
Interruption.
We're here at
no.
Norman, so sometimes hotels can be a little rowdy.
Yeah.
All right, let's get everybody introduced. We have a cool group with us, a team that is a new team, a very cool team, and a very unique to our league team. The Sirens, just simply the Sirens, not the St. Louis Sirens as they were introduced today at the Beep Baseball board meeting, but the Sirens, they're based out of the St. Louis area, at least the folks that are starting it. From the Sirens.
You can call yourselves the Homer Sirens. Ooh, I like that. The Homer. Neil doesn't get the reference, but
I don't. I don't.
The Odyssey was written by a blind poet named Homer.
Oh, okay.
The Homer Sirens. I like that.
I'm baffled that you're so well versed in poets.
Well, I'm well versed in the Iliad and the Odyssey. But.
I'm starting to feel like Joey Tribbiani on
Sorry, man.
I can't lie, but that's what it is. So let's get our group introduced, starting with the one that helped me get the show started, or get the show organized, Cassandra McDaniel. Hello, Cassandra. How are you?
Hello, Neil. We're doing good. Like I said, we're right here in Norman. I sat through all those meetings and helped with the beepball game as well. So
you actually, you could answer the question Seth had asked me. Was there anything major that jumped out of the board meeting to you that you think we should share?
Well, there were just a few things that they kind of maybe some rules that they haven't really enforced. It seems like they're gonna refocus on some of that. So I know
what rules haven't been enforced. That intrigues me. What are we referring to?
It's funny. I'm drawing a blank. To go ahead.
One of them was the rule about the pitchers and what cadence they used, and did it have to be the pitcher or could it be the catcher? And
they are updating the rule books, so we need to make sure that we're all aware.
Yeah, there's been a lot of confusion literally for seems like 20 years now on the ready pitch, ready ball, like when it has to be said compared to when the batter is swinging or whatever. Like back when Seth and I were playing, it was really simple. The ball had to still be in your hand as you were saying ball or pitch, ready ball, ready pitch, you could say either. And the ball still had to be in your hand when you were saying that. It could be leaving your hand, but you couldn't say it with the ball like in the air. That was an illegal pitch. But I believe it's been changed a little bit over the year. I think Jerry said today, like in 2003 or 2006 or somewhere it changed. I don't know. I think that's the rule. He said that like for 10 years, they're finally going to put the rule correctly in the rule book because it
Yeah.
hasn't been being called correctly in the rule book, or
Yeah.
I don't know. So
Just little things like that, I think, you know, just we all need to make sure.
I'm always very hesitant with them just putting things into the rule book. Don't most rules get voted on and stuff
well,
like
no,
that?
no. They're talking, and that was where the conversation started. They're not just going to put things in. Kyle Lewis is the chair of the rules committee, and he was very clear. Like, there's a process we got to follow to get these things straight. So you know, don't take it that way. They're not just
Yeah.
rewriting the rule book without any, you know, whatever validation. They're talking about how it needs to be done correctly, but how it also hasn't been, like, I guess, in there correctly the way the league's been playing. And that honestly, I mean, Seth, you and I know more than a lot of the people even listening, that's been a problem forever. Like, we've been saying since the 90s that there's the rule book, and then there was Dan Tracy's way of calling there was Dan Tracy's rule book, and there was the actual rule book. That was something we said all through the 90s while Dan Tracy was the head umpire. So this isn't the first time we've kind of ran into this problem.
And you know, and you know, several years ago, I put in a rule. I don't even about those whatever, the late bases, whatever. And I read through the rule book to, maybe it was even, you know, the when I was dealing with the votes needing to be taken. Maybe that's what it was. I read through the rule book when I introduced that rule about late bases and dead balls. I read through the rule book again later, and rules were gone. Rules were gone. Things were worded different. And that gave things totally different meanings.
We've
I
totally derailed their introductions, but that actually, for the record, is something they addressed today also. That they've been working on going back and trying to have, you know, like a more comprehensive path to where things were to how
I
they
think
got there
Neil.
now. So,
Okay,
wow.
you kind of
Yeah.
broke out there, but that was fine. But that's fine.
Yeah.
You're right. I was just going to go then to the introductions. But yes, that was all. I had noticed. I was like, man, this isn't the same rule book I was reading, man. So, but we're all good.
All right, yeah, so let's get our whole group introduced. We start with Cassandra McDaniel, also another leader on this team. The Sirens is her sister, Kim Blumenthal. Welcome back to the show, Kim.
Hi. My
I'm sorry, did she cut out?
you know, was on the starting teams of the Archers, you know, and that's been a good experience. This was a big.
Oh man.
This started, you know, there's been so many people that have approached me about getting this going, you know, other teams, and I was like, oh, I'm so excited, and then things would fall through. So Cassandra and I have sat down, we've got it all together, we've got some sponsorships, we've got some backing, and we're going to make this happen.
All right, I want to learn a lot more about that as we go on through the show. I want to get the rest of the group introduced. Also, we have your daughter, pitcher Mari Blumenthal. Hey, Mari, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys.
We've had you in the background before, but you've never actually been directly on the show. You've when your mom's been on before, you made some comments in the background, so it's good to finally have you with us.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to get this thing started.
And then keeping it all in the family, we also have both of Cassandra's daughters. We have Bailey Badger. Hey, Bailey, welcome to the show.
Hi.
All right, we're having terrible timing with the connections. Every time I introduce somebody,
Yeah.
we're losing their connection. But I heard you.
Well, that was your connection. We heard her fine. We didn't hear you respond to them.
Okay. Well,
Fine.
I'd rather.
It's really just you that that's breaking up. Not them.
Well, feel free to.
I will. You come back. You come back. I don't know if it I don't know it happens
Yeah.
until, and then you come back. You haven't been gone for long, so.
That's fair.
But,
I don't.
yeah.
I don't know why my connection's so unstable.
Maybe you need an Ethernet cable.
Oh, and we also have Kendra Badger. Did I get that right, Kendra? Correct?
Yes, you did.
Yay! Kendra and Bailey, I know Mari is a pitcher. Do either of you have you been like spotters with the Archers, or have you guys been involved with the team previously?
I'll go ahead and start. I have been the Archers catcher for a little while. Well, since it started.
Okay.
And then I also have been a spotter for them, and I was a spotter / catcher for St. Louis firing squad.
Yeah, I think that was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was our very first team. So
That Kendra and I were
yeah.
part of. So
Kim was part of that team as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yes.
forget each time that like we get you on the show, Kim, I forget that you go back to the firing squad. I always think that you came in with the Archers.
Nope, I was on the firing squad for several years. And Mari also was with me the whole time. She's been involved with beepball since she was 7 years old. So
That's something that we talk a lot about on this show, just all the family connections that end up as part of this sport. And Bailey, have you been involved previously?
So when Kim was on the firing squad, I was around a lot, but I was actually a college athlete, so I didn't get involved into beepball until after college. So once my mom, Kendra, Kim, and Mari were all on the Archers, I started going to a lot of Mind's Eye tournaments and competing in those.
What did you play in, or what's your sporting college, or what was it?
I did college basketball for 2 years till I had an injury, and I did college track for 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
What do you do in track?
I was a thrower, so I did shot put, discus, and the hammer throw. I'm actually the school record holder for the hammer throw still.
Oh.
Very cool. Congratulations on that. That's
Thank you.
impressive.
she also holds weightlifting stuff records too. Don't let her fool you.
She's underselling herself to us.
Yes.
You need
Yeah.
self-promotion. Being a college athlete, you got to self-promote.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All of us have played softball and high school basketball. Very,
Athletic.
Bailey was also in every sport she could get into growing up. So
I was
those are-
actually just going to dive into that stuff because
Yeah.
and Seth jumped in before I did with the same thought. But every time we have players on the show, we talk about the other like blind sports that are involved. But all 5 of you are, with the exception of Kim, so 4 of the 5 of you are sighted. But still, find out about the sports that you guys cross into. Mari, aren't you involved in other sports outside of beep baseball?
Yes, I'm in wrestling currently in high school, and I did play football in 8th and 9th grade. And right now I'm in wrestling. Actually, wrestling season just ended, and I went to state and placed 7th at state for wrestling.
Oh,
Wow.
good.
Yeah, very impressive. Congratulations on that. I know we're always interested when
Thank
people we're both football fans. Seth's all 3 of Seth's kids play. Seth coaches youth football, so we're always big on football. What did you do when you played football?
I was wide receiver, corner, and safety.
Oh,
Nice.
Steve.
Hey, did you guys know that Kim actually played and has championships for women's football?
Actually,
No.
I did.
You
You
did
did?
know that?
I did.
Huh?
I was God, where were we? Perhaps Oklahoma? I don't know who we were playing, but I was standing behind her, and I was listening to her tell people about that. And I even mentioned it to my daughter Landers, like, hey, she played professional football. So,
I did. I played for the St. Louis Slam for about, 4 years.
What
Did
league
you?
is that? What league is that? Or was
It-
is that still I know there's
It is.
two
Yes,
leagues still going
It's a
on.
Oops.
not like all like the like bikini or stuff like that. It's
lingerie,
actual
no.
full contact, like all the lingerie, all like pads, everything.
Is
Yeah.
that the same? It's ironic that we're doing the show with the Sirens. Is that the same league the Sacramento Sirens were in? Did you ever
I
play
think
against
so.
them?
I did not. I did not play against Sacramento, but I do believe it's the same league. There's two different women's leagues.
Right.
The St. Louis Slam still is up and going, and I'm a big supporter of theirs, but you know,
And which league are they in?
I don't remember. I mean, I'd
Alright.
have to look at my stuff.
Yeah, no, I
you're
know.
right.
It's just the number. I can't even think of the letters of each of the leagues or whatever. But
Yeah, I
Well, they
can't.
switched names about 3 or 4 years ago, and ever since they've switched, it's just like,
right.
It's been a long time since I've heard of anything from like the Sacramento Sirens. I don't
Right.
even know that they exist. But when they did, and they were writing them up in the paper, I used to follow that. They had a pretty good team. What did you do when you played on the football team? What were
I
your
played
specialties?
I played defensive tackle.
All right.
I played right over the center, so I
Nose
liked.
tackle.
Yep, I liked being right there up in everybody's business. Whenever I first started, I never told them that I was visually impaired. All I told them is I just don't want to have to handle the ball. I just wanted to play defense. I didn't tell them why I didn't really want to have to handle the ball. After they got to know me, obviously they kind of figured some of that out. So I played right over nose tackle, right over the center, and it was a lot of fun getting to move people around and,
My when it came up that you played, my first thought was that, oh, I guess she lost her sight later in life. But no, it's not the case. You were playing with your low vision.
yes.
Was it
Yeah.
challenging? Was it tough?
Oh, absolutely challenging. I think one of the hardest things for me, I had no problem when we did tackling dummy drills. I had no problem learning the drills. The hardest thing for me, honestly, is when we did the running up and down the steps in the bleachers, because it was hard to see them.
How did you do? How did your vision do in like the game? I mean, I assume with like nose tackle, you had to like man both A gaps,
Yep.
right? Were you able to locate like locate the ball carrier, or was it all just on the feel of which way the offensive line were blocking, or what?
I went a lot on how the line was going, whichever the way
Right.
the offense line was going the most, then I headed that way. There was only one time I had to touch the ball, and it was because of a fumble back there, and I was like, oh my God, I don't even want to pick it up. But I picked it up and, did what I had to do, but it wasn't one of my favorites.
I was thinking that it with low vision, it would be tough sometimes to determine like who the ball carrier was. Like, did you ever have a hard like go after the wrong the person that didn't have the ball?
Not really, because usually I was right there with the center and the guards up front. I usually just got to move people out of the way so that, our back people could come up there. Yeah.
That's kind of the philosophy of like the Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens. They like their front three to just cause as much disruption as possible and let the linebackers do all the chasing, running down.
That was my goal.
I like it. I like it.
I'm paying for.
So let's dive into this project. So for those that don't know, I'm sure most do, but the National Beep Baseball Association has always been a co-ed league, even though there's a much larger number of men than women playing the game. But we have, and we've featured the women of our league here on the show many times, and it's something I'm very supportive of. But this Sirens team is something totally different. It's going to be an all-female team, and even though I know of an all-female team from back in the 80s, I don't believe that team ever attended the World Series. So when you guys attend the World Series, this is going to be the first time that we have an all women's team. So where did this get started? What got the seed going for this?
Well, you know, like Kim was saying before, she's just like, I just really wanted an all women's team started. And she says, I need your help. I want to get this done. And I have personally been there when she's been approached by multiple teams saying, oh, well, we want to get an all women's team going. And then you never hear anything else about it. So I told her, I said, well, if we're going to do it, we got to get it done, because these women have been told, or, you know, they had the little, you know, carrot thrown out there in front of them too many times. We've got to make sure that we follow through. So we had to make some phone calls. Our first phone call, of course, was to Mind's Eye, and talk with Jason and Mike, and just say, hey, we'd really like to do this. And they were completely supportive, even helping sponsor. So, and then we just got it going, and I said, okay, Kim, I think it's time. And I think she actually asked a bunch of women on the Wool committee if they would actually be interested. And of course, we had all kinds of women reaching out and wanting to get involved. And so it's been a great adventure so far. And I just keep telling everybody it's wonderful, because it's like we got it started and then things just keep falling into play. And when you're working on a project and things are kind of falling in, just like your little puzzle pieces just kind of working together, I'm just like, this is amazing, and we're gonna get this done. So, and just the support has been amazing. So
Yeah, I was 'cause I know you have a GoFundMe account going to raise funds for the team, and I would like you to share that, like wherever we post the show, so that people can find that easily. But what I was well, I'm impressed with Mind's Eye support. That I believe, if I read it right, up to like $1,500, they're going to match your first $1,500. Is that correct?
yes, yeah, and we were able to get in 1,000 within the week.
I noticed that. I was like, man, we're not even going. They're going to be at 1,500 before we even record the show on Saturday, because you guys
Right.
are popping
And
up pretty quick.
I was hopeful to just at least get it matched by the end of the month, you know, and I think we're going to get it done by 2 weeks here. So we're just really excited and very impressed with the amount of support and encouragement that we're getting from all over the place. So,
And
How-
so hold on, you know, kind of digging a little deeper into the why, right? What is the driving force behind wanting to have an all female team, right? I mean,
Well-
you know what I mean? Like, what's the
Well, I've
the
been
why
lucky
of it?
enough. I've been lucky enough a lot of times to get to play quite a bit. But a lot of girls don't. There are a lot of women sitting on the bench. Even if they can do fairly well, they're still sitting on the bench because a lot of these teams are so deep. And we want women to be out there and show their potential and show them what they can do. We have a lot of awesome women athletes in our league. And I think it's real important that they get the opportunities too.
Go ahead. I was just going to say you're absolutely correct, but go ahead.
And that's what I was just going to say. And when I look around, she's been able to play. She's been able to play a lot more than the majority of the women that I look around and see. And I told her, I said, you know, it's a shame that they're sitting the bench all the time. They need to have the opportunities too. So when we say it's going to be an all women's team, administratively, we are building a board. It's going to be all women. So we are sticking with the theme, and we want everyone to be able to participate and be able to play, that's willing to put the work in and play. So we're going to be competitive.
So, as you've already pointed out, like there are women players throughout the National Beep Baseball Association that are sprinkled in on different teams. And I don't mean I make it sound like I'm cheapening them being part of the organization when I say sprinkled in. That's not by choice. Not by my choice. There's percentage wise, it's probably like 85-90% men, maybe higher than 90%. I don't know the numbers, but that's why I say sprinkled in. There just aren't as nearly as many women players in this sport. Have you guys, you said the response has been really good. How is the roster coming along as far as numbers go?
Well, right now, when we have team meetings, we have at least 13 players. That's not counting,
Wow.
our spotters and we still continue to keep getting, emails or messages. And some of these women have not played beep ball for a while, or they're brand new to the sport. And I've had some that just said, hey, I don't want to be on a co-ed team. I'd much rather be on an all women's team. So, and all of them have been active, whether it's we have people that run marathons. We have women that have played goal ball, so have that experience as well. People that have played college softball. So we have a little bit of everything, and it's just really exciting. And we can't wait to get on the field together. So
We also have a lot of women who are still on the fence. They really want to be here and do this, but I think they need to see us be successful because there's been so much failure. And so, they're kind of hesitant to leave their teams until they can actually see this happen. I think that
what do you define though? When you say successful? What do you mean? Just getting it up and running, or how do you define the success? I won't give you any options.
we will be competing at the World Series. To me, that's a success.
Right. Okay.
well, and it's a big step for people that are already involved or have been with a team for years.
Yeah.
And they've been promised, what I mean? They've been promised these things before, and it doesn't follow through. So it's, it's a little nerve-wracking, the idea of just jumping ship, and crossing over. But that's why I'm here in Norman. That's why we're doing what we do out there on Facebook, because we want people to know that this is going to happen, and to be confident that we're going to get it done. So,
The sirens are inevitable.
oh,
So I have quite a few thoughts like on with all of what you shared. Like one, the reason I like the this particular project, like the possibilities of it being sustained, is I think it's a perfect timing. One, even though I know you guys are going to have players from outside of the St. Louis area, that your main part of your organization is right there, and the World Series is going to be in St. Louis 2 years in a row, in 24 and in 25, which I think puts you guys, your project, in a really good position to keep the momentum going over the next couple years. But you also, what you touched on as far as like players, not even I guess it is like jumping ship from the teams that they're with. Like even if they're not getting the amount of playing time that they want, whatever, they've been part of a group and an organization, and just making the decision. I remember Kathleen Trussell that plays on the Braille Bandits. She was on the show like over 2 years ago. And we talked about this, because as you've mentioned, there's been talk of putting together an all women's team for quite a while, especially with the building of Wool. And it hasn't come around. But I remember Kathleen talking about how if it did happen, she would have a very difficult decision because she would want to go play with the all women's team and build a project like that, but she would have to leave or the team she's been playing with to do that. So with the players that are reaching out to you, is that a conversation that's coming up?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I am a member of the Wool committee, and when I brought it up to them, everyone was very excited. But at the same time, they all have teams that they're on.
Yeah.
So I understand, the dilemmas and oh man. And what we have asked is we've talked to a lot of the coaches and our Archer staff, and we are all going to be participating in the regional tournaments I will be playing with the Archers in the regional tournaments to make sure that I'm getting that practice in, and I'm going to practices with them. And other coaches have said that would be okay with them too, if the women still wanted to do that. And then I just won't play for them at the World Series.
Because at this point, a lot of the regional tournaments, we're not going to be able to get into. So I said, guys, continue to practice with your team, be honest with your coaches. Let me give calls, whatever we need to do. We are planning on having at least 4 practices, 4 gatherings before the World Series, but that's not enough. We know that, but it's at least a start.
Yeah, it's a good start. I think it's a good start.
So we're just and of course Bailey just announced tonight on our Zoom that she's putting out personal personal workouts, and we're going to be working on getting prepared for being at the World Series. So
in a lot of ways, Seth and I can relate to that because we both were founders of the West Coast Dogs and played with them for a number of years. And towards the end, we were losing a lot of our local players. We just didn't have enough. We couldn't have kept going to the World Series without having bodies from other areas. And one of the ways we combated not having all of us together all year round is we had regular team meetings and we held each other accountable as far as what people were doing to, so that we all, when we got together, we were all on the same track and ready to put the work in. We needed to stay in contact. You mentioned you guys having a Zoom meeting. Like I highly recommend that you guys do that as much as you can and keep everybody, on having that same conversation so that when you do get together, you can maximize your time.
yes.
Is there, looking like long term or whatever, would, do you guys envision perhaps getting a few all female teams or have you guys not thought, that far or just get this one off the ground? What I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I think
after 3 or 4
it would be great.
all-female teams, right?
I think it would be great, but right now I think that our first priority is to make sure we have a good, stable program.
Right.
We are bringing in young athletes. One of the girls that we are bringing in is 15 years old and plays awesome. We've got a couple others that are younger. We want to build this program, and how you build is by getting those young kids in there at an early age.
No, I agree with that.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, that's really why our dogs program died, because we were unable to bring in youth, and eventually, the group just ages out, and if you don't have kind of a pipeline and or a plan to fight that, it's not going to be sustainable. So I know you guys have the GoFundMe page, or the GoFundMe account, so that you're raising money to help this project be successful. What else can our membership help you guys with?
Oh, I
Is
think
there?
really, I think really just being support, and that can be financially. And, if they know people, we've got some, we've got a personal trainer here in Baldwin that's actually totally blind. She is in her 70s, and she has been a personal trainer for years and can describe very specifically on how Bailey wants some of these things done. She knows all of that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
we can do that kind of stuff over Zoom. We're really getting our community involved, because that's how you build. You get a
Right.
community behind a project, and then you build from that. This is also, Norman, Oklahoma is close to Oklahoma City, and that is where the Women's Softball Hall of Fame is. And I believe this is their 50th year there, I think, something like that. Sandra, you guys
All right.
went there. But we're going to kind of use that too, because this is promoting women. So
Yeah. And Norman, Oklahoma is also where the college softball World Series is hosted every year. So another I guess like small tie-in. I actually was on the tournament committee and did at the time that the site visit was done in Norman, and so I was one of the people that did the site visit there. So I'm excited that it's coming to fruition there. I got to know Trent Brown really well when I did the site visit and working with him on that, and I think he's got really good energy for our league, and I'm excited about the World Series going to Norman, but I also think that that's a good like part of your project going into the World Series being in St. Louis. Like Oklahoma's not terribly far from where you guys are based out of, so I think that makes it much more possible to get going this year, and then again having the back-to-back World Series there in St. Louis. I think this is the first time that a project like this has like real legs and can take off and keep going.
yeah, go ahead, Sandra.
Well, we, of course, we are working closely with Mind's Eye. They've been very supportive, and they said that they will continue to be supportive. That helped us feel a little bit of relief, And then we have several different organizations that we're applying to get additional funds. But just having that, and then also just the outpouring from, Kim's like, well, let's get some t-shirts made real quick for this weekend. And we got t-shirts made, and I had them sold out in like
Wow.
10 minutes at the game.
Wow.
So, that's the other thing, is that we are feeling the love and feeling the appreciation that, we are trying to get this going, and they appreciate what we're doing. So that also helps. And just the general interest from the women that have contacted us and that are part of our team right now. It's just a very positive and very uplifting, and it just continues to help me push to get more done,
Yeah.
So,
We as a family are a little on the headstrong side. So when something gets when an idea
Gets in
gets
your
in
blood.
head, yeah, it's just we're determined to make it happen. And I think that's really important.
I love the energy. I think it's cool. I'm excited about it. If there's anything that we can do to help you guys out going forward, don't be hesitant to reach out. I know it's been a long day for everybody, beepball wise. It's 10 o'clock where all of you are at. So we could wrap this up. Is there
Hold on. Do you
anything
want to?
else?
Yeah. Hold on. What about the name? Right.
Oh.
I made jokes about the name at the beginning, but I don't know if everybody is
Okay.
aware on the name. Tell us
For
about
the
that.
other Joey Tribbiani's like me, help us out.
Okay, so I'm going to tell a little story about the name. Bailey was the one that was throwing names out, and we were all on this big group chat. And I was just like, I don't know, guys. Well, then everybody else but me, they were like, this is what needs to happen. But we're going to let Bailey explain why we chose the Sirens.
All right.
So-
Jump on in, Bailey.
The Sirens really came about because I was talking to my mom about possible names. I started off with that St. Louis name, something that really works in with that S, which we've let go now. But the Sirens just came up, and as we were talking about before, in the Odyssey, sirens were talked about, and it's this mythical creature, this mermaid-like creature that were talked about in the sense of luring people, and they were very good at using their voice, and they were actually creatures that were giving men this appearance that they thought was there when they were on a ship for a very long time, and then it actually didn't turn out to be that. So it was just these women-like creatures that were luring men, and yeah. So
Eating them. No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember how that.
They lured them off the ship, right?
They're
Yeah.
To their
they
death.
lured them off the
Yeah.
ship. They hit their demise. Is really what it was.
I think it's cool, but I'm not getting on a ship with you guys now.
We wouldn't be on the ship, Neil. Just you would come off the ship for us.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm a good
they don't
swimmer.
come
I
onto
was a
the ship.
competitive swimmer growing up, so I might be able to handle it for a minute.
Well,
Neil,
then,
let me
Neil, if
tell
you've
you-
ever heard the phrase a siren song, that's the
yes, we're gonna have to
That's
come
what
up
the
with a
reverse-
siren song, so
reference
we,
is.
yeah. But the
Yeah.
other part is, when we mentioned it, then Mari jumped in and started creating this logo. And so she's actually the one who drew our logo, and it was just, like I said, puzzle pieces just kind of fell into place, and it was just like,
Well, you gotta explain the
Let's
logo
go.
to some
Yeah,
totally
I
blind
was gonna
people.
I was gonna ask the same thing, because as Bailey was describing where the name came from, and I started like picturing my own logo, like, oh, is that gonna be how it plays into the logo? So Mari, tell us about the logo.
So the logo is a beep baseball, and it has a siren right next to it, kind of like its hair's kind of wrapped around it, sort of, and her hands like up on her hair, kind of on the other side, and she has like a bikini on, and just she's kind of like wrapped around the ball, sort of.
Okay.
So, and it looks like a mermaid, like with the
Hold on,
Marty,
you
you're
guys-
breaking up a little
yeah,
bit.
you guys
It
broke up.
has like a mermaid's tail on it, and she's basically kind of leaning up against the beep ball.
All right.
I'm going to try to show my shirt here, guys. I don't know if it'll. Can you see it, Sandra?
yeah,
Yeah.
I see it. I was trying to show mine too, so.
yeah.
But yeah, everybody likes the logo, and they were like, yeah, I want a t-shirt.
But before that, there was
Oh.
a lot of miscommunication, and everybody was doing ambulance sounds, and we're like, oh no, no, no. We got actual.
Yeah, so.
Is the logo appropriate? I mean, we can wear it to school
Yeah.
and stuff like
It's
that.
not showing anything
Yes.
explicit.
It's, yes, it's appropriate.
It sounded to me, I mean, I wasn't worried about it not being appropriate, but it sounded to me like the way it's set up, like the ball is used to avoid anything that could have been.
Almost like They were
No.
pictured as sitting on rocks or like leaning against rocks. That's
Yeah.
what I think we were going for.
Yeah.
So instead of a rock, it's a beep ball.
Oh,
I
I
like
like it. I
I
like
like
it.
it. Again,
I'll
the
have-
Homer Sirens, man. The
And
Homer Sirens.
Our colors are purple, purple and silver and white. So
I think I have purple on tonight. Although this shirt, sometimes people call it purple. I've had it called pink. I've heard it called lavender. I have no idea what color this shirt is. I get a different version every time somebody mentions it. But I think I was picturing it being purple as I put it on.
all right.
Well, great, man. It is whatever you want it to be. Neil.
Yeah, right.
You can
do
be
you-
whatever you want to be.
Can you see it well enough to determine what color you think it is, Cassandra or anybody else?
I say it's closer to like a dark pink.
Yeah,
Dark
yeah.
pink?
I
Alright.
say light pink, but like the collar and like where the buttons are, it's darker pink.
Yeah.
Oh, I always assumed it was the like same color all the way around. There's different shades?
Yeah.
I had no
It
idea.
could be, it could be the lighting too,
Definitely
Neil,
could
but
be the lighting.
Fair enough. Speaking
Yeah.
of the lighting, I believe that the light I turn on, because where I do the shows like in a little corner part of my living room, I believe this light's been on above me since the last time we recorded a show because I forgot to turn it off. Problem with being totally blind, living by yourself, out of sight, out of mind. So I believe my light's been on. This corner light's been on all week long. So I got to remember. to
Hey,
turn it off.
as many times as I have witnessed you walk into a coffee table or your open dishwasher thing, I believe it. Out of sight, out of mind for NealDawg.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know why I would ever walk away from my dishwasher when the door's open because like literally within seconds I forget that I left it open. My previous dishwasher, I totally ruined the door. The dishwasher had to be replaced because I just ran into the door too many times. And this idiot Seth, whenever he's in the house, just thought it was funniest thing in the world.
that's an expensive alley.
Yeah, no, you are
Yeah,
correct.
Neil had strong legs, obviously, because he'd be knocking those things out. Man. Boom! Oh!
I'm sure I'm not the only blind person with this, but my shin bones on both sides just have dents all the way up and down. I got like at one spot on both of my shins, I have like a calcium deposit that's built up just from knocking it into coffee tables and stuff. But again, I know I'm not the only total that lives with that. So enough about me.
I don't think that's just totals. I don't think that's just totals, Neil.
Oh, you go down with the ship, Kim?
Yeah, sometimes.
All right, fair enough.
yeah, I think that was last weekend or 2 weekends ago at Columbia at state
Yep.
competition. She tripped over a little step.
Well,
Yeah.
you know how they have the wheelchair ramps and stuff, the cut-ins. Well, we were at McDonald's and it had 2 cut-ins and I didn't expect it to have 2. And I sure enough, missed that one.
It's those little steps that kill you.
She runs up all the time.
She runs into stuff at home all the time. Is she one of the blind people that walks really fast like Neil? Neil walks really fast. That's why he runs into things. I walk very slow, and I don't run into things that often.
I don't have time to walk really slow. I have 9 kids in my house.
See, there's the correlation there. I'm just saying.
You know, it hit me to ask you about that, Kim, because I remember going back to the very first time you were on the show. It came up that you're a foster parent. At least you were at the time. You had like 7 like foster kids or something at the time. Are you
Yeah,
you still have a house full of kids?
I do. I have been a foster parent for 20 plus years. Mari's grown up with foster care her whole life. And then, see, I'm so convincing at it. Then I convinced my sister there to become a foster parent too. So she's now also a foster parent. I have 9 kids in my home right now. Mari being one of them, but I have 2 3-year-olds, a 10-year-old, 3 11-year-olds, 2 16-year-olds, and an 18-year-old.
That's that's impressive. That's a lot
It's
of
crazy.
responsibility.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's okay.
If the ages weren't doubled up, you know, you would look like a family from like the 1800s or the 1700s. 12 kids, all close in age. Well,
Well, it's okay. We grew up with a big family. My dad has 9 brothers and sisters. There was 10 of them. So, you know, it's just kind of.
You're used to having folks around.
Yeah.
When you were on the show the very first time, like I said, it was a couple of years ago, you had like a young baby. Is that one of the 3-year-olds now that has stayed with you?
He's gonna be 4 on Friday, actually, the 17th. He's gonna be 4. When we originally got him, he was on a G-tube and oxygen, and he had an ostomy bag, the whole bit. And now he is off of everything. So he is a 4-year-old, just he went to preschool this year, and yep, he's.
That's very impressive. I've fostered dogs for a rescue on and off for the last about 15 years, and I get all full of myself like I'm making a difference in the world sometimes doing that work. But what you guys are doing puts me to shame. Taking in people and giving them homes and raised them. That's I don't know. I don't even know that there's strong enough words to give you credit for that. But you deserve a lot of credit for that, both of you.
Well, I will tell you, it's also very hard on our biological kids. And I want to thank Mari, and I know Cassandra does with Kendra and Bailey too. You know, these kids give up a lot for us to
It's
be
a
foster
sacrifice.
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
you know, my
Ah,
friend
but-
Tina, my friend Tina does fosters, and so she had like 11 kids, and
Wow.
and we'd be hanging out, you know, doing the PhD program, and she'd be getting phone calls, and I'd be like, Tina, you just need to hang up on them. Too many people calling for your time. You got work to do. Well, so I respect it. That's a
absolutely.
hard road to hoe, boy.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'm sure
does anybody have anything else before we wrap this up? Feel like we hit on everything for your team? Big debut?
Mari, you got something to say?
I don't have anything. I said.
Fair enough.
Well,
thanks first to you, Cassandra, for helping set all this up, but thanks for all of you. I know it's late where you are on the Central Coast, so appreciate you guys helping us get a show out tonight.
we're ready to be on the field. We're ready to go, and we're going to compete. Just want everybody to know that. So we're gonna go.
We're not backing down.
Thank you so much for having us on your show and helping us get the word out there. And, you know, that's part of getting started, is getting all this groundwork.
100%. You're always welcome. Like I said, if
And
there's
I will.
anything
You guys would bring me at least to tune in at the World Series on your games. You know, if you guys are playing at the World Series, I'll be watching your games. So I can't promise that for any other games, but I look forward to it. Are
you guys going to steal Andrea away from the Archers to stream your games?
I don't know, but
No.
we have had a few volunteers from the Archers that have said, hey, if you guys need help.
Yeah. So no, we won't borrow any other people, but yeah, we'll definitely have some streaming going. We have plenty of people that can get that going as well. So
All
but
right.
yes. Thank you, Seth, and thank you, Neil, for reaching out to us. And
hey, well, thank you for including me. People don't usually do that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you don't actually have to thank Seth for anything. Yeah. Just send all your credit to me.
And she even named you first, Seth.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that.
I'm a little irritated at that.
Yeah, you're already stirring the pot. Oh my God.
No, it's all good. We appreciate it. This actually, in all fairness, Seth was the one that really pushed to do it now. Right away when I saw that your team was up, I was like, oh, cool. But like part of your initial post was that you guys were going to be on the Richie Flores podcast. So I was like, well, I won't double that up. You know what I mean? I'll give them a little time, then we'll circle back to them. And so I was like, well, let's get these Sirens. Like, all right, I'll reach out to them. So, you know, right away.
NealDawg, as a father of a daughter who's an athlete, man, I'm big into the female sports, man. So let's bring them on, man. Bring them on.
You know, women's sports, there's so much passion that's involved. I would watch a woman, women's basketball, especially high school ball. Of course, Bailey, we got to watch a lot of it. But yeah, just the passion and the drive. Absolutely.
A lot of the women's sports from a very young age.
Yeah.
Keep
I'm
it
down
up.
with that.
And wish you nothing but luck with this project. I actually would love to get one of those shirts, so I hope you guys are going to have more made up. Sounds cool. I'd be proud to represent.
Do you want the
Thank you.
gray shirt or the purple shirt?
I want to finally get a real purple shirt instead of saying I got purple when I'm wearing dark pink.
Well,
I can't wear anything that's inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? You know, all the inappropriate stuff I can't wear.
Nothing is inappropriate.
Okay.
Nothing at
They
all
already
inappropriate.
defended that. You make it, if somebody's just tuning in, they're gonna think the shirt's inappropriate. They
Oh,
already
man,
defended
who
that.
tunes in an hour into the show? If that's on them, I'm sorry. We're joking. You should have tuned in at the beginning, then you'd get to know.
I'm in a totally different boat. If you guys want to make an inappropriate shirt, not only will I wear it, I'll wear it on the show. Even
Well,
though, go ahead.
I will get one made and sent to you.
oh
we-
no, you already have a volunteer wanting to design it. for you.
Yay! All right, I like it. I'm on board. All right, I will wrap up the YouTube part of this. Thank you, anyone and everyone, for checking this out. I'm going to ask the team to post their GoFundMe link wherever we post the show. So you'll be able to find an easy way to get in touch with them and be able to help them out and help them get this project going. We appreciate any help that you will give them. So thank you to the Sirens for being part of the show. Thank you, NealDawg, for being here. Thank you, Frank Porter, for all your help. We're not, even though this is the second show in 2 weeks, we still are going to be going every other week. We're not diving in every week yet. We will as the season gets on. And I think here in a couple weeks, we are going to have a couple members from the New Jersey Titans who are going to be returning to the field this year. So we will catch you all.
Hold on. I got all excited. I thought you were going to say the Beepball Jeopardy was coming up.
No. don't get that
I'm
excited.
sorry.
It's going to be a while before you're going to be able to sucker me back into that one.
I'm sorry.
That
I jumped over. I got too excited. I'm sorry.
We will catch you all in a couple weeks. Peace out.